All right, so today we're going to talk about the classical approach to management. And in a short period of time, I'm going to show a video on Amazon about how the workers are disposable and the workers actually get replaced by machines. And it kind of relates to what we're going to talk about after the video called the machine metaphor, which is kind of going to be the overlying theme of the classical approach to management. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so like I was talking about before, the machine metaphor, this is essentially the viewpoint of a business or organization where people are considered like pieces in a machine, and everyone has a specialization that they focus on, as well as every person can be replaced because the job is so standardized. So anybody has the ability to perform the job. There's also the notion of the predictability, as when something goes wrong or it is broken, it can be fixed as simply as just replacing a piece of the machine. This is broken down into three three main topics here. So we have specialization, and that would be that the every piece has a specific function. So you have the person that is loading the boxes into the truck, or you have the machine that is putting the items in the box. And then we have standardization, and this is basically about how like the replaceability of things. So at Amazon, the machine breaks down, you pull it out, put it in a new machine, or if the person's not performing at the level that you need them to, you fire them and replace them because the job is standardized. It is easy for somebody else to come in and replace you. And there's the predictability where a machine, it's very predictable because it was designed in a specific way, and that's how these organizations think. Or if something breaks down, you pull it out and you can fix it just by fixing a small piece of the machine. The entire machine works good again. So we'll move on to Henry Fayol's theory of classical management. So these are the five fundamental elements of management. We got planning, which is looking forward to the future to determine the best way to attain organizational goals. We have organizing, the arrangement of human resources or employees and the evaluation of those employees. Command, this is where managers set tasks for employees in order to meet the organizational goals. We have coordination, this is described as separate activities of an organization coming together to be a single functioning body. And then we have control, which is the comparison between goals and activities to ensure that the organization functions as planned. And moving on to the principles of organizational structure, we have the scalar chain, the strict vertical hierarchy. So with this, you have Jeff Bezos at the top, and what he says goes down the chain, and everybody gets the message. And then we have unity of command. This is where employees receive orders regarding a particular task from one supervisor. So you have the supervisor who tells them, all right, your job today is you're taking the boxes and you're gonna put them in the truck, or your job today is you're gonna take the boxes, out of the truck, or something of that to that extent. We have unity of direction. This is where activities having similar goals are placed under a single supervisor. So the supervisor of it would be all the people who are doing the stuff with the boxes, putting them in, taking them out, etc. They'll have one, we have one supervisor for one of them, and essentially one for the other. We have division of labor, so you have the people who are doing the boxes, and then you might have people on the other side of the. You might have people somewhere else doing the getting the items out of shelves or something to that extent. We have order, and this is that there should be an appointed place uh, for each different uh, task. So you have the people who are doing the boxes, and you have people who are doing getting the items, and those are on separate areas, designated areas of the factory. And then span of control, that's managers are more effective if their control is limited to a specific number of employees. So we have like the first level management, they would get like 20 to 30 employees, and then like the higher level managers get like 6 to 8, something along those lines. And then with that, we're going to move on to Max Weber's theory of bureaucracy. And this is a rundown of the different kind of authorities that you'll find in organizations. So we have traditional authority, which is similar to like a monarch, and then charismatic authority, which would be like a dictatorship, and then rational legal authority, which would be closer to like a US president. And with if we're looking at this on the factory, the guy who becomes the supervisor probably rose through the ranks, so he's probably more like a rational legal authority type of authority over the other factory workers. Then move on to Taylor's theory of scientific management. So the key term here is rate busters. So with rate busters, to give a little example, it would be if there are people packing boxes and there's a guy who's already been there and he does 20 boxes an hour for 50 cents, and then they have a new guy come in, he can do 30 boxes an hour. And so the supervisor will notice this and be like, okay, well, if this guy, the new guy, can do 30 boxes, the old guy can, the guy who's before him can do 30 boxes. And so he'll bust the rate, or he'll drop the rate down to where the guy who was making 50 cents for 20 boxes an hour is now having to do 30 boxes to achieve the same pay. And moving on to, so we have communication within classical management. The first thing is content. So with content, we're focusing on this. This kind of refers to knowing what should and shouldn't be talked about in an organization, task-related communication, and innovation-related communication, which is just communication about new ideas that have to do with the business. And then there's maintenance-related communication, and this is more on social topics that maintain the human relationships that we need to, survive and that we just need. And then we'll move on to direction, and there's multiple directions that communication can flow in a business. With classical management, the main one is going to be vertical, and that's very much along the scalar chain of organizational hierarchy that we talked about before. You have Bezos, and the information flows downwards in the form of rules, orders, and directives. And Bezos will, he could say, "Oh, I want the factory workers to start doing it this way," or "I want these people with this job, they're going to be out because we just got this new machine that's going to, make it much cheaper for us to do this task." And there is feedback upwards sometimes, but in this style of management, it rarely happens. Then we have horizontal, which is more free flowing, but it doesn't happen often in this kind of management situation. And then following that, we have channel. This is the information that's communicated through face to face or written channels or a variety of different styles, including a telephone or computer. And in this, the written mode will be the most prevalent, so like emails and that kind of thing. We'll move on to style. So this would be uh, the style of communication. So we have in this style, it's mostly in this kind of management, it's mostly going to be formal. So you would avoid slang and colloquial terms, and you refer to somebody by their position within the organization. There's also nonverbal, and that would just be like dress attire. So you wear suits and dresses instead of like jeans and a t-shirt, or leggings and a t-shirt. That is it. So thank you.